Hey guys, I'm a big Warcraft fan, and I've played Warcraft 2 and 3, and I just watched a little bit of the story of Warcraft 1 and 2, what came before WC3, and then what happened in WC3. But I don't know much about the story in World of Warcraft, and you know, some people say WoW is canon and some don't, but I want to check this video. It got recommended to me. This is the almost complete history of World of Warcraft by the channel called Hidden Azeroth. I don't know if I like it yet, but I'll give it a like. 3 years ago, and I heard that this guy talks so fast that it is probably wise for me to watch this in less than 100% speed. Guess he wanted to make a shorter video. Let's try 0.75 and see if that works out. The almost complete history of World of Warcraft.
So you're new to WoW and want to know what's going on, or you're just trying to figure out which horde you're a part of. Here's the entire history of Azeroth in 23 minutes. Way back at the start of the universe, there were Titans, which are gods born out of planets.
I think it sounds better just to do the original speed, because otherwise he sounds drunk. That's doing a disservice to him. Let's check it again. Let's just read fast. Read and listen fast.
Azeroth in 23 minutes. Way back at the start of the universe, there were Titans, which are gods born out of planets, kind of. The Titans formed a pantheon which went around looking for more baby Titan planets called World Souls. One of these planets was named Azeroth, currently inhabited by a bunch of elementals. A mysterious group of beings who wanted to kill the pantheon, named the Void Lords, were also looking for world souls and sent their servants, the old gods, to go find and corrupt them. Some old gods found Azeroth and started bleeding bugs on everything. The pantheon eventually finds Azeroth too, and they start fighting everyone. First the elementals, then the old gods. The Titans win, but they can't kill the old gods without killing Azeroth, so they build prisons instead. They leave behind a bunch of metal guys, and also some dragons to look after Azeroth and guard the prison in their absence. Off in another section of the universe, the Titan Sargeras learns the old gods could corrupt Titan planets and decides the only reasonable solution is to kill all.
Sargeras learned to be an old god. Off in another section of the universe, Sargeras learned to be old gods. Learned to be an old god could corrupt. Learned that old gods could... Wait. Learned to be old gods could corrupt Titan planets and decides the only reasonable solution.
In the universe, the Titan Sargeras learned to be old gods could corrupt Titan planets and decides the only reasonable solution is to kill
all life in the universe. Learn to beat
life in the universe, so he starts building a massive army called the Burning Legion by corrupting inhabitants of Titan planets. The Pantheon isn't happy that all their planets are being corrupted, so they try to calm Sargeras down, telling him that the army is pointless because they found a world soul strong enough to defeat the Void Lords. Sargeras responds by killing the Pantheon and imprisoning their spirits, and sets out to find and destroy Azeroth, fearing what would happen if a Titan that powerful was corrupted. Unfortunately, Sargeras forgot to ask where Azeroth was first, so he has to start looking for it. Another powerful world soul is Argus, a planet inhabited by the Eridar, who are led by Archimonde, Kil'jaeden, and Velen. Sargeras wants to corrupt Argus and approaches the free rulers in disguise, offering them immense power with no strings attached. Archimonde and Kil'jaeden accept the power like suckers, and most of the Eridar get corrupted, but Velen realizes it's a trick and refuses. Velen prays for guidance, and a race of sentient chandeliers called the Naru hear him and send a spaceship, which Velen and the remaining uncorrupted Eridar use to flee Argus. The uncorrupted group changes their name to the Draenei, which means the exiled ones. Kil'jaeden is angry about their escape and vows to hunt them down.
I don't think that they had this as the story when they first started envisioning World of Warcraft, or Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2. I think a lot of this came later, because they first had the Alliance versus Horde battles and stuff, and then they were like, okay, there are demons above it, and then they started adding like other things after that. And that's because they needed an ever bigger threat. Think Fast and the Furious needs to be faster and more furious. So now you've got all these echelons of gods above, one bigger than the next, and the next bigger than the next. First you think Sargeras is the ultimate end boss, then there's like creatures above it, etc. But so roughly they're like, there's the galactic beings, and there's a little bit of civil war. Sargeras is like Sauron, and then he kills the others and he wants to corrupt everything and stuff. Okay.
Sargeras corrupts the world soul of Argus and uses it to build a machine that lets him regenerate anyone in his army, making them effectively immortal. Meanwhile, back on Azeroth, the imprisoned old gods drive their guards crazy and make a curse that turns...
Sargeras is more like Morgoth? Yeah. Then who is his Sauron? Melkor. Who is his Sauron? Kil'jaeden? Archimonde?
Stuff into meat, meaning
Kil'jaeden, right? Yeah.
These guys turn into these guys. A big magic pool called the Well of Eternity that was...
Lich King? Sauron is Kil'jaeden, yeah.
left behind by the Titan starts hyper-evolving deer and squirrels into a race called Trolls. The Trolls dub themselves the
Wait,
Zandalarian. The
what?
Titan starts hyper-evolving deer and squirrels into a race called Trolls. The Trolls dub themselves the Zandalarian, form the Zandalari Empire, which has a strict caste system. The lowest caste decides that being in the lowest caste sucks and leaves to form their own empires. One of
Deer and squirrels. Okay.
these empires settles by the Well of Eternity and evolve even further, transforming into elves. These newly
Okay, so the Well of Eternity, the lowest caste of trolls, says it sucks, so they form their own empire.
empires. One of these empires settles by the Well of Eternity.
They settle by the well, and then they become elves. So it's the opposite of the elf to orc transition from Lotter. Here it's troll to elf because of magic.
And evolve even further, transforming into elves. These newly formed elves create the Kaldori Empire. Led by Queen Ajara, they use the Well of Eternity to gain magical and technological superiority, allowing them to swiftly defeat the Zandalari and take over Kalimdor. The Kaldori's excessive use of the Well of Eternity lets Sargeras magically access Azeroth, but he still has no idea where it is in physical space, so he needs to rely on opening portals to invade. Since he needs a powerful mage to open the portals, Sargeras reaches out to Ajara and offers her a place at his side. Ajara agrees and uses the Well of Eternity to summon the Burning Legion into Azeroth.
Wow. That's a bit irresponsible, isn't it? From Ajara.
Dragons in an elf rebellion led by Tyrande Whisperwind and brothers Illidan and Malfurion Stormrage fight to stop Ajara in the War of the Ancients. Attempting to gain power against the Legion, Illidan pretends to join Ajara's forces. Sargeras is so grateful he stabs out Illidan's eyes and gives him cool demon vision. This allows Illidan to see the true power of the Burning Legion, and he begins to fear their defeat on Azeroth will ultimately be pointless. One of the 5 aspects, named Neltharion, is driven mad by the old gods, who convince him to steal the Ever Aspect's powers by making a weapon called the Dragon Soul under the guise
Which is the One Ring. Which kind of makes Deathwing, in a way, Sauron.
of fighting the Legion. Once the weapon is built, Neltharion blows everyone up with it. He changes his name to Deathwing to show off how edgy and cool he is. Malfurion steals the Dragon Soul and hides it. Deathwing is sealed in Deepholm, a big cave at the core of Azeroth. The Rebellion shuts down the portal and stops the Legion, but the Well of Eternity is destroyed in the process, which causes a big magical explosion called the Sundering that breaks Kalimdor into a bunch of little pieces. As the Kaldori capital sinks into the ocean, the old god N'Zoth turns Ajara and her followers into
This fish is the is N'Zoth.
little pieces. As the Kaldori capital sinks into the ocean, the old god N'Zoth
This fish is like, wanna make a deal?
turns Ajara and her
Okay.
followers into fish. Obsessed with the power of the Nightwell and fearing another Legion invasion, Illidan uses water reeds stolen from the Well of Eternity to make a new well in Mount Hyjal. The other elves are angered by this and throw Illidan in jail for his actions. The remaining elves fight over whether to use the last of the well and break into 2 factions. The Night Elves stay on Kalimdor, and the Highborn travel to the Eastern Kingdoms and make a new font of magical energy called the Sunwell. They rename themselves to the High Elves. The children of some Vrykul and Northrend are being born mutated. These mutated children are ordered to be killed, but some are snuck to the Eastern Kingdoms instead. Here they form tribes and call themselves
That's how humans came to be? IRL as well?
humans. One group of humans called the Arathi tribe begins to unite the other groups under one banner, forming the Kingdom of Arathor. Eventually, the Kingdom of Arathor grows so large...
Wait, again? Yeah, so there was a creature called the Vrakir?
Eastern Kingdoms instead. The Northrend are being born mutated.
Vrykul? Vrykul's mutated children were yeeted somewhere else and became humans. But who are Vrykul?
Well, they rename themselves to the High Elves. The children of some Vrykul
The children of some Vrykul. Vrykul are Titan-born Big Nord Vikings.
and Northrend are being born mutated. These mutated children are ordered to
Vrykul were curse of flesh Titan constructs. 9-foot-tall Vikings. Stone people. Half giants.
be killed, but some are snuck to the Eastern Kingdoms instead. Here they form tribes and call themselves humans. One group of humans called the Arathi tribe begins to unite the other groups under one banner, forming the Kingdom of Arathor. Eventually, the Kingdom of Arathor grows so large that several of its biggest cities declare independence and break off into the kingdoms of Gilneas, Alterac, Dalaran, Kultiras, Stormwind, and Lordaeron. The High Elves ally themselves with humans to fight the trolls living in the Eastern Kingdoms, while the Night Elves and Dragons fight the Old God bugs and lock them in the Titan prison of Ahn'Qiraj.
Okay.
Living in the Eastern Kingdoms, while the Night Elves and
The Night Elves and Dragons fight the old god bugs and lock them in the Titan prison of Ahn'Qiraj.
Dragons fight the old god bugs and lock them in the Titan prison of Ahn'Qiraj. The High Elves teach the humans magic, and some of the humans start to accidentally summon demons and elementals. To protect against the threats created by humans having magic, the leaders of Dalaran decide to give one human a whole bunch more magic. This person is called the Guardian, and they pass their power on to the next person the council chooses when they retire. Sargeras, who still has no idea where Azeroth is physically, is currently trying to open another portal to invade Faerû, but opening an army-sized portal requires a lot of magic, so Sargeras can only open a small portal and send a less powerful mini-version of himself called an Avatar Faerû. His Avatar then proceeds to start eating dragons in order to gain more magic.
Really?
The dragons aren't a fan of being eaten, so they ask the humans for help, and the humans send the current guardian, Aegwynn, who goes to Northrend and kills the Avatar, sealing its body in the tomb of Sargeras so it can't be resurrected.
Damn, Aegwynn looks a lot like Jaina's mother. Don't you guys think? So Aegwynn kills the Avatar of Sargeras to save the dragons.
Guardian Aegwynn, who goes to Northrend and kills the Avatar, sealing its body in the tomb of Sargeras so it can't be resurrected. Unbeknownst to Aegwynn, a portion of Sargeras' soul powering the Avatar jumps into her when she kills it and proceeds to hide there. Aegwynn decides that someone else getting to choose who gets her powers is lame, so she goes into hiding. Remember Velen and those goats on the spaceship that were fleeing the Legion? They just crashed onto a peaceful planet called Draenor and made friends with the Orcs, a race of shaman who are happy to share their planet. Everyone is friendly and these two races are sure to be lifelong pals.
This is so realistic. A new race descends on your planet and you coexist and share because resources are plentiful. It is so realistic. Orcs are so noble. Orcs are everything human race should have been. No selfishness, just share and common goals.
Back on Azeroth, the dwarves are living inside a mountain when their king dies, and suddenly everyone wants to be the new leader. The War of the Three Hammers breaks out, and the dwarves split into the Bronzebeard, Darkiron, and Wildhammer clans. The Bronzebeards win and take over Ironforge. Angry over losing the war, the Darkirons try to summon elementals to kill the other clans, but they do too good a job and accidentally summon Ragnaros, a Fire Lord, who traps the Darkiron dwarves inside a Black Rock mountain and forces them to act as his slaves. Aegwynn is still in hiding and just had a child named Medivh. Unbeknownst to her, the latent fragments of Sargeras' soul jump into Medivh and hide inside him. In a stunning display of nepotism, Aegwynn gives her infant child the powers of a guardian. The human kingdom of
In a stunning display of nepotism. So, it's like when you cut chili peppers, but you actually leave some chili pepper extract on your fingers, and then you rub your eyes, and you accidentally get spicy eyes, and then you have to cry. That's what happened with her. She went to go kill Sargeras' avatar, but left some pieces of gut on herself. Didn't wash. A grubby old woman she was, Aegwynn, and accidentally, when giving birth, infected her child with the essence of Sargeras. Evil baby noises. That's not nepotism. Giving the guardian powers to your own baby is not nepotism. You don't even know if your baby is talented yet, Years Rider. You haven't even seen if they have common sense. Didn't wait at least until they're 8 years old till you can judge their faculties. She assumed their baby is going to be going to have the merit to do it.
Stormwind goes to war for Gurubashi trolls. During a troll attack on Stormwind City, the now adult Medivh uses his powers as the Guardian to obliterate the trolls and save the city. He's heralded as a hero and welcomed as the new Guardian. Sargeras remains undiscovered inside of him. On Draenor, Kil'jaeden has tracked down Velen and the Draenei. He reaches out to an orc shaman named Gul'dan, offering him power if he helps turn the orcs against him. Gul'dan agrees and proceeds to frame the Draenei for attacks on orc villages. The orcs respond by banding together to stop the Draenei. Gul'dan forms a cool new group called the Horde, and the secret ingredient is fell magic. He convinces the Horde to drink the blood of the demon Manaroth, which has the side effect of turning their skin green and also enslaving them to the Legion. He installs the bloodthirsty Black Hand as the puppet warchief. This new fell-crazed Horde slaughters the Draenei, who flee into the forest led by Velen. Under Warchief Black Hand, the Horde is reckless and destructive. Quickly, they eat all the food on Draenor and need a new place to live. Sargeras sees this as an opportunity to have his avatar freed from the tomb and tells Gul'dan about a lush planet the Horde can invade called Azeroth. Back on Azeroth, Sargeras begins to corrupt Medivh from within, eventually convincing him to help Gul'dan open a dark portal, a massive gate that connects Azeroth to Draenor. The orcs pour through, marking the beginning of the First War. The First War rages on for 3 years between the Horde and the Kingdom of Stormwind, led by King Lane Rin. The Kingdom of Stormwind still believes Medivh is their ally, and he continues to act as the Guardian. An orc named Garona meets and befriends Medivh and his apprentice Khadgar. Garona abandons the Horde and sides with humans. Together, Khadgar and Garona discover that Medivh is responsible for opening the portal and team up with General Anduin Lothar to kill Medivh.
I knew it.
Orgrim Doomhammer is upset by Black Hand's brutality towards his own soldiers and challenges him to a mock Arath for leadership of the Horde. Orgrim wins and kills Black Hand. Garona returns to Stormwind to deliver her report of Medivh's death. While informing King Ren of the situation, Garona is possessed by Horde warlocks and assassinates the king against her will. Without its leader, Stormwind falls to the Horde, ending the First War. The survivors of Stormwind flee north to Lordaeron, where Anduin Lothar convinces the other kingdoms to assist. Together, they begin to plan a second war against the Horde and unite into the Alliance of Lordaeron. Meanwhile, Doomhammer's Horde marches north from Stormwind towards Ironforge to get resources. The Horde fights the dwarves and gnomes, leaving them trapped in their cities. The Horde continues north towards Lordaeron, but it's too well defended, so they head past it and poke at the High Elves and Quel'Thalas for a bit before turning around. Gul'dan betrays the Horde and leaves for the tomb of Sargeras with some soldiers. When he betrays Sargeras...
Yeah, that's why he's here, right? That's why the whole portal was enabled. That's why he was giving demonic power. So now Now I understand why Gul'dan is going for that tomb. But then I remember there was a skull of Gul'dan in the Warcraft campaign in the tomb. So I guess he dies here?
Sargeras ignores orders to open a portal, instead planning to steal the power of a tomb for himself. Sargeras doesn't like being betrayed, so demons eat Gul'dan. Orgrim Doomhammer is unaware of Gul'dan's desertion and begins a siege of Lordaeron. Originally successful, Doomhammer had been counting on Gul'dan's forces to bolster the assault, and when he learns they have abandoned the Horde, he's forced to undergo an incredibly costly retreat to Blackrock Mountain. Unaware that Gul'dan is already dead, Doomhammer dispatches the sons of a former war chief Blackhand, Dalrend and Maim, along with a contingent of orcs to slay Gul'dan. The pursuing human forces free the besieged dwarves and gnomes, who pledge
The names of those orcs are Rend and Maim. Nice.
along with a contingent of orcs to slay Gul'dan. The pursuing human forces free the besieged dwarves and gnomes, who pledge their service to the Alliance. The severely weakened Horde makes their final stand at Blackrock Mountain. Orgrim Doomhammer kills Anduin Lothar to break the human spirits, only for him to be replaced by the paladin Turalyon, who captures Doomhammer and rallies the Alliance into pushing the Horde back to the
Can't break the spirits of humans.
Dark Portal. Khadgar deactivates the portal, closing the gateway between Azeroth and Draenor and ending the Second War. Rend, Maim, and their contingent of orcs arrives at Blackrock Mountain after the Alliance departs and occupy the fortress for themselves. Fortifying the keep from attackers, they create the cool new Dark Horde, and the secret ingredient is dragons. The victorious Alliance rebuilds Stormwind, naming the adolescent son of Lane Rin, Varian, as king. The Alliance also puts the orcs they captured into internment camps. Orgrim himself is sent to one such camp. The High Elves, feeling that the protection of Lordaeron was prioritized over their capital, Quel'Thalas, leave the Alliance. Back on Draenor, the orc shaman Ner'zhul finds himself leading the remnants of the Horde on a still dying world. He plans to open portals to other planets to plunder their resources because it works so
Who wants to plunder? Ah. The orc shaman Ner'zhul.
the Horde on a still dying world. He plans to open portals to other planets to plunder their resources because it worked so well last time. But to do this, he needs to steal magical artifacts from Azeroth, so he reopens the Dark Portal, great work Khadgar, and sends a small group of soldiers through to retrieve the artifacts. They succeed, but the Alliance decides to go on the offensive, electing to send a group of soldiers led by Turalyon, Khadgar, and some other people into the Dark Portal in order to end the Horde once and for all.
Beyond the
Corrupted
Dark
by
Portal.
the power of the artifacts, Ner'zhul
Warcraft
opens
2.
a massive number of portals at once, tearing apart the fabric of Draenor and abandoning the Horde. The planet is destroyed and pulled into the twisting Never, forming a floating landmass called the Outlands. In order to save Azeroth from the might of the now
I think the Outlands is where Illidan went to once to take the fortress of the Pit Lord Manaroth and then take refuge in it, and then he started training his Hemandantirs in it.
stranded Horde, Khadgar collapses the Dark Portal, trapping himself and the Alliance expedition in the Outlands. Presumed dead, statues of the leaders of the expedition are erected
Mactheridon. Oh, yeah.
in the newly rebuilt Stormwind. Angered by Ner'zhul's betrayal of the Horde, Kil'jaeden turns him into an evil hat and a sword called Frostworm that have the power to raise the dead. Then he of the Horde, Kil'jaeden turns him into an evil hat and a sword called Frostworm that have the power to raise the dead. Then he drops
Okay.
him on Azeroth in order to weaken the human kingdoms in preparation for a Legion invasion. He also gives Ner'zhul a few demons called
It's kind of true.
Dreadlords to help speed things along. In the Orcish internment camps, a young orc named Thrall befriends Doomhammer, and together they rally the orcs into rebellion and escape the camps. They build a cool new horde, and the secret ingredient is friendship, but Orgrim is killed, naming Thrall the new war chief. Thrall leads the orcs to the lost continent of Kalimdor in order to escape the humans. During the voyage, they meet with the Darkspear trolls and Matoran, both of whom join the horde. Ner'zhul, now called the Lich King, has had a few years
got
to
a
get ready,
really
and he's
bad
starting to build a
worm
following. He
There's no solution for that, Michael Jordan. It's too powerful. But it only lasts a day. So, who's the jailer? I guess later we'll get to the jailer. Maybe not in this one. We'll just keep looking.
needs powerful magic boys to open a big portal, so he recruits the wizard Kel'Thuzad, and together they make a plague that kills people and turns them into zombies. They release it into the northern cities of Lordaeron via infected grain, and the Third War begins. King Taranis Menethil of
No need to worry, my lord. The grain has already been distributed amongst the citizens.
Lordaeron hears rumors of a plague to the north and sends his son Arthas and the mage Jaina Pradmore to investigate. They find that Kel'Thuzad has poisoned a recent grain delivery to the bustling city of Stratholme with a plague. Arthas kills Kel'Thuzad, and they head to Stratholme to stop the grain shipment. The duo is too late to stop the townsfolk from eating the grain, and with no cure for the plague, Arthas decides to kill the infected before they're turned into mindless undead. Jaina
I'm sorry, Arthas. I can't watch you do this.
is aghast
Hey,
and
look, it's Prince Arthas.
abandons Arthas. Arthas purges the city and meets the Dreadlord Mal'Ganis, who taunts the prince, telling him to find him in Northrend. Arthas becomes obsessed with taking revenge on Mal'Ganis and follows him to Northrend, discovering the sword Frostmourne along the way. The sword consumes his soul, and Arthas is corrupted by the will.
To be fair, the dwarf shouldn't have told him about the sword. Muradin was like, hey, there's a powerful weapon. It's a rune blade. And then Arthur's like, okay, go get it. And then they get there, and then Muradin gets cold feet. And he's like, I'm not sure, I get bad vibes. And then Arthur is like, here, have an ice fragment in your face. You're dead. But except he wasn't, but he thought so.
Of a Lich King, becoming an undead soldier called a Death Knight. Now minion of a Lich King, Arthas returns to Lordaeron and murders his father, King Taranis Menethil, while his forces destroy the city.
Muradin didn't know it was cursed, but once he saw it up closer, he was like, I can withdraw consent anytime. And then Arthas was like, I am going to take it by force.
The Lich King still needs Kel'Thuzad to summon Archimon, so he orders Arthas to stuff the dead wizard chunks in a jar. In order to raise Kel'Thuzad as a lich, Arthas needs the power of the Sunwell, so he marches his forces north to Kel'Thalas. Along the way, he captures the Ranger General of Silvermoon, Sylvanas Windrunner, who he kills and raises as a Banshee. The Scourge storm Silvermoon and slaughter the High Elves, raising Kel'Thuzad as a lich and corrupting the Sunwell in the process. With Kel'Thuzad resurrected, the Scourge return south and raid the city of Dalaran for a magic book. Once they have it, Kel'Thuzad summons Archimon, who builds a sandcastle and punches it, which destroys Dalaran. Remember that second Well of Eternity Illidan made in Hyjal? Archimon needs it to summon the Legion, so he and the gang head
It's our command, huh?
west to Kalimdor. Also, a big tree called the World Tree grew in it, and it made the elves immortal. Jaina and Thrall are both met by the ghost of Medivh, who says they need to stop Archimon at Mount Hyjal or Azeroth will be destroyed. Jaina leads the Alliance to Kalimdor. On Kalimdor, the spooky Medivh ghost meets Jaina and Thrall again and tells them that the Alliance and Horde need to work together. But one group of orcs under Grommash Hellscream gets tricked by Manoroth into drinking more demon blood.
This time, it won't make you sick. And you can stop anytime. Just have one drink.
Servants of a Burning Legion again. Jaina frees Grom, who kills Manoroth, freeing the orcs but killing himself in the process. The Night Elves find out that the Legion is invading again and join the fight. Tyrande, now the leader of the Night Elves, orders Illidan to be released from jail to help fight demons. Illidan promises he's done consuming demonic power to stop the Legion. Illidan then promptly consumes more demonic power to stop the Legion, eating the skull of Gul'dan and using the powers to blow up a...
I understand the concept of eating the skull of Gul'dan, but when you think about it physically, isn't that painful, like weird or something? Like, how do you eat it? Does he grind it up in a pestle? Or does he just like bite it like a hamburger? Because I feel like even if there's like a small piece of eggshell in my scrambled, it is uncomfortably hard. And that's not even a skull. He doesn't eat it, he just drains it. Okay, so it's just a manner of speech by this guy.
Legion. Illidan then promptly consumes more demonic power to stop the Legion, eating the skull of Gul'dan and using the powers to blow up a...
If you slow cook it, if you pressure cook it, you can eat a skull, I think. We've pressure cooked ribs before, and instead of like spare ribs where you eat the ribs off, like the meat off the ribs, you can eat the whole rib. Just have to pressure cook for a long time. So I think Gul'dan's skull, probably, if you pressure cook it in like the Well of Eternity for like 12 hours, I think you for sure can eat it.
Dreadlord. Tyrande and Malfurion are furious and banish Illidan, who runs off and sulks. The ghost of Medivh tells everyone that he's manifesting because he feels bad for opening the dark portal and wants to fix his mistake. The three armies pledge to stop the Legion and build a series of base camps in Mount Hyjal to prevent Archimon from reaching the well. Archimon completely bulldozes...
Did this guy take his info from various book sources? Maybe he read the books. That's why he knows the characters but not how to say it. Because if you played WoW, you would hear Archimon.
Through these base camps and reaches the well, so the ancient spirits of the Night Elves, called Wisps, turn themselves into a bomb and blow Archimon and his army up. They also accidentally blow up a world tree, so the Night Elves stop being immortal, but at least the Third War is over. Thrall heads south into the deserts of Kalimdor and founds the Horde capital of Orgrimmar, named after Orgrim Doomhammer. In the ruins of Kel'Thalas, Prince Calphas Sunstrider destroys the Sunwell so it doesn't corrupt his people. Without the Sunwell, the High Elves go into magic withdrawal, and most rename themselves to the Blood Elves. About 10% continue to call themselves High Elves and break off to rejoin the Alliance. This schism becomes the single largest point of contention among the WoW player base. Illidan, still angry about being accused of serving demons,
what point of contention?
Elves. About 10% continue to call themselves High Elves and break off to rejoin the Alliance. This schism becomes the single largest point of contention among the WoW player base. Illidan break off to rejoin the Alliance. This schism becomes the single largest.
The High Elf love threat. So Blood Elves is High Elves?
Point of contention among...
You are not a High Elf. I want to make something perfectly clear, as it's obvious. Identifying as a High Elf, which makes no sense.
A WoW player base. Illidan, still angry about being accused of serving demons, agrees to serve Kil'jaeden by hunting down and killing the Lich King, who's gone rogue. He teams up with some Naga and Prince Calphas and casts a spell which severely injures the Lich King. Ner'zhul the Hat realizes that unless someone puts him on, he will die from his injuries, so he recalls Arthas to Northrend. The Alliance rallies under Grand Marshal Garifos to push the undead out of the ruins of the Kingdom of Lordaeron, now called the Plaguelands. Due to the Lich King being weakened, Sylvanas breaks free from his control and works alongside them to retake the capital city. However, once the Scourge is defeated, she turns on her living allies and slays them, claiming
Whoa.
Lordaeron for herself. She unites the undead freed from Witch King's control into the Forsaken. Arthas leaves Calphazad to command the remaining Scourge in the Plaguelands and returns to Northrend. Illidan battles Arthas in a final attempt to prevent him from saving the Lich King, but Arthas wins and puts on the hat, merging his soul with Ner'zhul and being frozen in a block of ice. Illidan retreats through a portal.
I have a small little anecdote to share before continuing. When I co-announced Reforged with Blizzard at BlizzCon, when it was a surprise to everyone, I got to have a little sneak peek of the campaign cinematic before everyone else got to see it. I saw the Arthas versus Illidan fight. Do you guys know the feeling of someone, it could be your girlfriend, could be someone else, they ask your opinion on something that you have very little context for? It's like, how do you think this looks? Someone asks your opinion on fashion, right? And you have no fashion interest or knowledge. And then they ask you, like, how do you think this looks? How do you think this looks? And you're just like, I don't know. You just try to search, but it's like a complete blank. Does this dress make me look fat? Or maybe you never play FPS and you're trying to judge whether something is a good FPS. You know what I mean, right? Like, you have no interest and no context to even begin to give intelligent feedback. All right. But you know some people do like that kind of thing. So when I was watching the cinematic, so I do think that Blizzard has made some of the best cinematics across many of their games. I'm a huge fan of StarCraft 1 cinematics, Diablo. But I think for Warcraft 3, I feel like they cheaped out a bit. Instead of making like epic World of Warcraft-like or Diablo 2-like cinematics, you had a lot of the in-game rendered stuff. Even the cinematics that they did have in Warcraft 3, I thought they were okay. Oh, I see you brought the mighty Hellscream. I thought they were okay, but I didn't think they were top tier like some of the StarCraft 1 ones, which I thought were really good. Like when you saw like the Dragoons phasing into the Terran city, and then the Terran hillbillies are like, kill it. And then they're like happy and stuff, and then more Dragoons phase in, or I love you, Sarge. I think StarCraft 1, Diablo 2 had some real quality cinematics. And for Warcraft 3, I wasn't that impressed. So I kind of felt like I didn't think they were good, but I had seen so many people since say that they loved the Warcraft 3 campaign and the cinematics that I kind of felt like it was something that I couldn't judge myself. I didn't feel like I have enough understanding of what makes people think that they're good. So when I saw the remade cinematic, Arthas versus Illidan, in the office, at the Blizzard office, they showed the remastered one. I didn't know if it's good or not, because I didn't like the original, and I didn't even remember the original very much. And I'm also among people that I'm friendly with, and I'm the first to see it, so I just thought it's probably good. Maybe people are going to love it. So I actually didn't know. I could have shown up in a purple and green clashing fashion outfit thinking people are going to like it. And then imagine my shock and people are like, oh my God, clashing colors, terrible. When the cinematic came out, Arthas versus Illidan, people hated it for the most part. The Arthas Illidan fight, the sounds were off. I heard it. I watched it without sounds, by the way, so I didn't know how it was. When that cinematic came, yeah, any feedback I would have given wouldn't have changed it. But yeah, I'm focused on like the pro part of the Warcraft 3 for the most part. I mean, I like the story, but I don't think like the cinematics were that amazing. The old Arthas Illidan fight was pretty weak, and the new one was also not amazing. People hated it, and so I was surprised that people didn't like it because I didn't know how to judge it anyway. I thought maybe people will like this too.
To the Outlands with Calphas and some of the Naga. Fearing the Alliance will attempt to retake Lordaeron from her, Sylvanas and the Forsaken join the Horde, hoping their military might will deter the Alliance. The Horde now consists of Orcs, Tauren, Trolls, and Forsaken. With the loss of Lordaeron, the recently rebuilt city of Stormwind becomes the new seat of the Alliance, which consists of humans, dwarves, gnomes, night elves, and a few remaining high elves. The city of Dalaran gets rebuilt and they put it under a dome. A night elf named Fandral Staghelm decides to grow a new world tree called Teldrassil, so the night elves can keep being
Another new world tree.
immortal. It doesn't work, but the night elves decide to live on it anyway. While traveling to a diplomatic meeting with the Horde, King Varian Wrynn is kidnapped. His 10-year-old son Anduin is named leader of Stormwind, with Bolvar.
I see a lot of hate on some Reddits now that Anduin is too baby-like, like too wimpy. Like he has PTSD, he's traumatized, and people are like, why is he traumatized? Because didn't he have like a cushy upbringing, but they prepared him for war, so why is war so hard for him, etc. I mean, a lot of people have been through shit in their childhood.
Four Dragon acting as Regent
Yeah, it reminds me of Tommen from GOT.
Lord. This marks the beginning of World of Warcraft. The armies of the Horde and Alliance have been greatly weakened by the Third War, so both factions begin to recruit new soldiers from among their citizens to depopulate the local wildlife. These citizens become known as the Champions of Azeroth and are the player characters in WoW. In Blackrock Mountain, Ragnaros starts summoning elementals, so the Champions of the Horde and Alliance.
He got possessed for months. He has PTSD, it's fine. They don't display it that well. He was under mind control. By who? I'd rather a character actually show growth than just be same old Arthas. Yeah, I don't think... By the jailer, oh my god. I don't think Arthas is that interesting of a character. He doesn't really evolve much. Sylvanas kind of evolves, I would say. She's evolved and devolved quite a lot. Illidan is an interesting, well-written character. I think Arthas is a bit more mundane. He was kind of a prick when he was a kid, and he grew up to make prick-like, dumb, rash decisions, and then he just became evil, period. He has like one brain cell, yeah. Illidan, I think, is the #1 character in all of Warcraft.
Banish him back to the Firelands. Then they go upstairs and kill Rend Blackhand. On Kalimdor, Cthulhu and all the bugs break out of jail, so the Alliance and Horde build a stick and use it to break into bug jail to kill Cthulhu. We can kill old gods, but the Titans can't because reasons. Off in the Outlands, Illidan and Calphas steal a floating chandelier ship called Tempest Keep. Velen and the surviving Draenei steal a piece of it and fly off into space. Kel'Thuzad builds a big floating box called Naxxramas that he's ruling the Plaguelands from. The Champions of Azeroth break in and kill him. The remaining demons in the Outlands reopen the Dark Portal in order to invade Azeroth. They are beaten up immediately, and Azeroth decides to invade the Outlands to teach them a lesson. This marks the beginning of the Burning Crusade. Calphas discovers that Fel energy is a substitute for his Sunwell and joins the Legion. Blood Elves start doing Fel magic and their eyes turn green. Some are upset about this and join the Horde. The rest continue to follow Calphas. The Draenei crash land on Azeroth and join the Alliance because it's the side that doesn't have orcs. The Alliance find Khadgar, Círdan, and Trollbane alive and operating in the Outlands. Illyria Windrunner and General Turalyon are still missing. Thrall meets Garrosh Hellscream, the son who Grommash Hellscream left behind on Draenor. The two become friends and Garrosh joins the Horde. The Champions of Azeroth beat up Illidan and send him to jail. Then we beat up Calphas and he
Again to jail?
gets really big and dies. Calphas gets resurrected.
Kel'Thas gets big and dies? What, is he like suffused with so much energy that he just keeps going bigger? I guess they needed him big for making some WoW raid interesting or something. Did he just overjuice on magic? yeah. Okay.
Champions of Azeroth beat up Illidan and send him to jail. Then we beat up Calphas and he gets really big and dies. Calphas
The Kel'Thas fight was pretty epic, honestly. Nice.
gets resurrected with Fel magic and decides to use the Sunwell to summon Kil'jaeden to Azeroth. The Alliance and Horde lay siege to the Sunwell, killing Calphas. Fel
why would
magic
you
and decides to use the Sunwell to summon Kil'jaeden.
Kel'Thas gets resurrected with Fel magic and decides to use the Sunwell. Why would you do that? Why would you summon Kil'jaeden to Azeroth?
To Azeroth. The Alliance and Horde lay
He's a prick, he's dumb, he wants power. Power, I guess, yeah. These are the questions. He gets resurrected 50 times. My man never had a good plan.
siege to the Sunwell, killing Calphas again and stopping Kil'jaeden before he can enter Azeroth.
My demise accomplishes nothing. The master will have you. You will drown in your own blood. The world shall burn. Arg. Is that what he said? Nice script. I feel like people like this, megalomaniac addicts, or megalomaniac power crazy people, they don't generally say my demise accomplishes nothing. They would rather be begging at the end, because it's their life above all else. Why is he simping for his master? My master will have you. You will drown in your own blood. Okay, Dexter. The world shall burn. Alright. The world burns, then what are you gonna own? Generally, powerful people want to own the world, not burn it. Burning the world is like one of those typical pure evil fictional villains. Real villains want to own the world, not burn it. Sir, this is a fantasy story. No.
Velen purifies the Sunwell by throwing a dead chandelier into it so blood elves don't die of withdrawal. This marks the end of a burning crusade. In Northrend, Malygos...
Yeah, but I generally expect the only true evil in stories to be whatever represents or is most of a metaphor for demons or devils. Then I can just suspend disbelief and say, okay, you're pure evil. You want to end all life. All right. I still generally think devils prefer to utilize the living to enslave them, like in 5th edition, like in Dungeons and Dragons, right? Devils enslave the living, and demons are chaotic and want to destroy everything. Like, I can accept either interpretation, but most like elves, humans, I expect a little bit more selfishness than just pure nihilism.
Gets mad about how much magic people are using and decides no more magic for anyone. He begins to slurp up all the magic on Azeroth, which angers Vakir and Tor of Dalaran, since without magic, wizards are just frail nerds. They teleport Dalaran to the...
What about Italians? What about Italians? Careful.
Skies above Northrend and team up with the Ever Dragon aspects in order to fight Malygos. Varian Rin is rescued and returns to Stormwind to take his place as High King of the Alliance. The new and improved Lich King Arthas wakes up and decides to conquer Azeroth. He sends infected grain to the capital cities of the Alliance and Horde, which kills some citizens, but mostly just angers the two factions, who team up and send an expedition to Northrend to stop the Lich.
Such a classic. Did Arthas really send infected grain? It really left an impression on him. He's like, this is the best strat. Worked on me. Worked on me, and I'm basic. I barely ever lose. It must have been a really good build to work on me. This is going to work for sure. And then he realized there's like a really easy counter to it. Don't eat it. He's trying to cheese Azeroth and Kalimdor. And they're like, we're not going to eat it. We know it came from you. A grain shipment from Northrend, is it? Yeah, a bit sussy.
And Horde, which kills some citizens, but mostly just angers the two factions, who team up and send an expedition to Northrend to stop the Lich King. They're joined by the Argent Crusade, a group of paladins devoted to stopping the undead. Some of Arthas' Death Knights rebel and join the Alliance and Horde. The Lich King resurrects Kel'Thuzad again and moves Naxxramas to Northrend in order to fight the Argent Crusade. Kel'Thuzad is killed almost immediately. Also, the dragons kill Malygos, so he stops eating all the magic, and another dragon named Klekos replaces him as the Aspect. Some of the Forsaken betray everyone and release a plague on a bunch of Alliance and Horde soldiers, including Bolvar 4 Dragon. Alexstrasza...
Man, you think that you can trust someone. The undead free themselves from the control of their evil master. They're forsaken. They deserve the same rights as everybody. We should see them as a people. Drop your prejudice. They're not undead anymore under the thrall of the Scourge. And then they go and poisoning everybody again. You think you know someone. And this is why stereotypes and racism sometimes is a good thing. Look at them.
Forsaken betray everyone and release a plague on a bunch of Alliance and Horde soldiers, including Bolvar 4 Dragon. Alexstrasza tries to save him by setting him on fire, with questionable results. Yogg-Saron wakes up inside of Ulduar, so the champions of Azeroth kill him before he drives everyone insane. The Argent Crusade hosts a big joust to decide who gets to kill the Lich King. The winners get to storm Icecrown Citadel. It's discovered that the charred but still alive Bolvar is being held by Arthas. Led by the High Lord of the Argent Crusade, Tyrion Fordring, the best jousters in Azeroth march on Icecrown Citadel and kill the Lich King, shattering Frostmourne in the process. The spirit of King Taranis Menethil is released from Frostmourne and tells Tyrion that someone needs to put on...
The spirit of Taranis Menethil?
Shattering Frostmourne in the process. The spirit of King Taranis...
Oh, he eat his dad with his sword? Why? I remember he killed him, but I didn't know he ate his dad with his sword. The blade collects a portion of a soul from those it slays. So has his soul been tortured for its life force ever since? Huh. Pressure cooked. He pressure cooked his... the correct term is pressure cooked.
Menethil is released from Frostmourne and tells Tyrion that someone needs to put on the evil hat or the undead will start killing everyone.
That is such a story. That's frustrating to me in a way that Diablo 1 was frustrating. Remember when in Diablo 1, this may be a spoiler if you haven't played it yet, mute for 10 seconds. In Diablo 1, when the protagonist kills Diablo, he's like, there's a soul stone here that was part of Diablo. I should probably smash this into my own brains. I am so powerful I can surely control this, and that's the best way to contain it. Just lay it on an altar and destroy it. Get a hammer. Why put it in your own head?
A walking charcoal briquette that is Bolvar calls dibs and becomes the new Lich King, getting frozen in a block of ice. The War of the Lich King ends. Remember Deathwing? The old gods have been whispering to him for 10,000...
And that helmet from Lich King, like, he was wrong, no? King Menethil, Terranas Menethil, he was wrong. Because he said, oh, there always has to be a Lich King. Wear this helmet, otherwise the undead are going to run amok and kill everyone. How does that make sense, by the way? Because... okay, you need a Lich King to control them, but the Lich King is going to control them to kill you and send grain rushes around, poisoned grain rush. Shouldn't it be easier to kill all the undead when they don't have a unified leader? Like normally, without a captain, the army is a lot easier to pick off. It doesn't make sense that a Scourge amok is more dangerous than a Scourge controlled. Yeah, but then there's no story. Yeah, but they should have made the story better then. It doesn't make sense like this, that they're so dangerous when they don't have a leader. That means that any leader the undead has ever had is an overpaid CEO. Right? Just administrative padding. Literally, their goal is to cause havoc on the living. And every time they hire a CEO, they mess it all up. They could have literally just said, everyone go home, it's work from home day, and we're not going to check on you. And then everyone just starts buggering off doing their own thing, and before you know it, entire Azeroth has been infected by the Scourge. Plus, it was also wrong with the benefit of prescience, because if I do not remember wrongly, there's a future cinematic where someone just does this. And literally just crushes the skull, the helmet of the Lich King. I think Sylvanas just does this and it's broken. No? So you don't need to have one all the time at all anyway.
1,000 years, so he's even crazier than before, and he just woke up on the wrong side of a bed and broke out a deep home, blowing up a lot of Azeroth in the process. Now everything is on fire, and Fantasy Utah got flooded. The king of the dwarves, Magni Bronzebeard, tries to research how to stop Deathwing from blowing up Azeroth, and accidentally turns himself into a giant diamond. Now Ironforge doesn't have a king and a free...
It's because it rusted over the years, they didn't oil it. Yeah. Or they used like the wrong oil. They used like WD-40, but they should have used lithium, white lithium or something.
Dwarf clans fight over who should lead. They wind up deciding to just make a council. Gilneas gets overrun by a furry convention and the Forsaken invade and try to plague them. The Alliance shows up to help, but Sylvanas destroys Gilneas anyway. The wolves want revenge, so they rejoin the Alliance. A bunch of goblins that live on an island almost die in a storm, but Thrall saves them, so they join the Horde. The Dragon Aspects team up to stop Deathwing, but they can't form Captain Planet without the aspect of rocks, so they recruit Thrall because he's good at talking to rocks. This means Thrall has to retire from the Horde, so he appoints Garrosh as...
oh, I think this is in the Thrall novel.
...the new war chief. Deathwing decides he isn't burning things fast enough, so he summons Ragnaros, who has legs now. The druids storm into the Firelands to keep Ragnaros from burning down their trees and kill him for real this time. The Aspects realize they can't stop Deathwing without using the Dragon Soul, so Nosdormu goes back in time and steals it. Then Thrall blows him up. Using the Dragon Soul to blow up Deathwing used up all the Dragon Aspects' power, so they aren't as powerful anymore. The Cataclysm ends. Garrosh likes war, so he decides to start one by blowing up the Alliance city of Faramore. Jaina goes crazy and most of her hair turns white. Anduin is on a boat but gets chased by the Horde and crash lands on an uncharted island called Pandaria, a mystical land inhabited by talking pandas. The Pandaren tell the Alliance and Horde they need to stop fighting or they'll wake up the angry Old God spirit that haunts their land. The two factions proceed to fight even harder, and the Old Gods start corrupting everything. Anduin asks Garrosh to help him save Pandaria. Garrosh responds by dropping a bell on him. Some of the Horde leaders get upset with Garrosh for declaring war on literally everything, so Garrosh declares war on them and forms a cool new Horde, and the secret ingredient is racism. The rest of the Horde splits off under the Troll Vol'jin. And forms a cool new Horde, and the secret ingredient is racism. The rest of the Horde splits off under the Troll Vol'jin. Garrosh sees how powerful the Old God spirits are and decides he wants to eat one. He starts researching how and learns that the heart of an old god is buried in a sacred Pandaren mountain. He digs up the heart and throws it in a lake, corrupting all of Pandaria. At this point, Garrosh has declared war on
That's a real D-bag act. All the pandas wanted was not to wake up the gods, and Garrosh goes and do that.
Literally every major faction, all of whom team up and storm Orgrimmar to kill him. Garrosh's horde is defeated and Garrosh is captured and put on trial for setting the world record for most war crimes, ending Mists of Pandaria. While on trial, Garrosh escapes with the help of an evil bronze dragon and goes back in time to Draenor before the first horde drinks the blood of Manoroth. Luckily for this video, going back in time creates a little pocket dimension instead of rewriting the entire history of WoW. In this pocket dimension, Garrosh tells his dad that drinking the blood will enslave the horde of the Legion, so they kill Manoroth, capture Gul'dan, and form a cool new Iron Horde, and the secret ingredient is goblin technology. They still decide to invade Azeroth though, so they build a new dark portal and plug Gul'dan into it like a 9-volt battery. Somehow, this allows their portal to hijack into our portal, and suddenly the Iron Horde is pouring into present-day Azeroth. The Alliance and Horde team up with Khadgar, a resident expert at closing the Dark Portal, and send a strike force called the Iron Vanguard through the portal to turn it off. They do this by unplugging Gul'dan and just letting him walk away for some reason. Then, since people keep
Enough blood has been spilled. Like when they let Wormtongue get away in Lotter.
reopening these things, we blow up the portal with a cannon. The Iron Vanguard goes around killing the various warlords of the clans. Thrall challenges Garrosh to an honorable orc duel, but then he loses, so he just kills him with lightning instead. Without 90% of its leadership, the Iron Horde gets absolutely bulldozed, at which point Gul'dan shows up with a cooler of that tasty demon blood, and the Iron Horde orcs all join the Legion anyway. Gul'dan summons Archimond, who's still alive because it turns out
We went back in time for you! We just plugged into another portal and interdimensionally joined your timeline not to drink the blood. We've got technology now. We don't need magic anymore. Gulp.
but the demons that have been getting killed have to be killed in the Twisting Never, their souls just go back to Argus and reform. Also, this is the same Archimond that fought in the
hold on.
have to be killed in the Legion anyway. Gul'dan summons Archimond, who's still alive because it turns out that the demons that have been getting killed have to be killed in the Twisting Never, their souls just go back to Argus and reform. Also, this is the same Archimond that fought in the Third War, because despite this being a pocket dimension, there's only one
Alternate dimension where the past Draenor exists. Main dimension where Azeroth is located.
Burning Legion somehow. Look, WoD is a really confusing expansion. Anyway, the Iron Vanguard teams up with remains of the uncorrupted Iron Horde, because apparently war crimes are okay if other people commit more war crimes. They kill Archimond for real this time, but not before he picks up Gul'dan and throws him into space. The Iron Vanguard declares victory and goes home, ending the warlords of Draenor. The Burning Legion sends alternate universe Gul'dan to Azeroth in order to open the tomb of Sargeras and let the Legion invade, and this time he actually does it. He also steals Illidan's unconscious body from jail to use as a...
So he's not dead. He's been uneaten. Where did he come from? The alternate dimension? This is not a retcon. This is a story. This is a story, guys. Different Gul'dan, and this time he succeeds.
a vessel for Sargeras. The Alliance and Horde team up to stop the Burning Legion once and for all in a broken shore, and they get absolutely obliterated. Tyrion gets melted, Vol'jin is murked by a random demon, and Varian gets disenchanted by Gul'dan. For reasons unclear to everyone, including Vol'jin, he decides Sylvanas should be the next war chief and then promptly dies. Anduin...
Because she's hot. She's a hot undead babe, and she'll make a great, fine main character for a while in WoW. And it's exactly what the shareholders needed.
is now High King of the Alliance and also kinda hot. Remember that Dwarf King who got turned into a rock? He woke up and he can talk to Azeroth now. Also, a fat goat turns Ysera crazy, so the champions of Azeroth kill her. Lich King Bolvar wakes up and he starts making Death Knights to fight the Legion. Also, he's on our side now. The Legion is still primarily located on the Broken Isle, so Khadgar teleports Dalaran there to fight them. The Alliance and Horde free Illidan, who disenchants Gul'dan. The Burning Legion is starting to lose, so Kil'jaeden plans to use the Tomb of Sargeras to make an even bigger portal so the Legion can bring more troops from Argus, but we storm the tomb and kill him first. For real this time. Illidan then opens the portal anyway, because he wants to fight more demons.
But did they kill him in the Twisting Nether, though? Did they hit him in his Twisting Nether?
Is starting to lose, so Kil'jaeden plans to use the Tomb of Sargeras to make an even bigger portal so the Legion
Yes? Right up his Twisting Nether. Okay.
can bring more troops from Argus, but we storm the tomb and kill him first. For real this time. Illidan then opens the portal anyway, because he wants to fight more demons. The armies of Azeroth all pile onto a spaceship and fly to the planet Argus to kill the Titan Argus. They find Illyria and Turellian, who are on a space crusade. The gang finds out that Sargeras is holding...
There's almost no villains left. They killed everybody. We Azerothians are really powerful.
the souls of a Titan Pantheon prisoner and free them. Then they kill Argus, which means the demons can't respawn anymore. Meanwhile...
That's it? I think we're getting really close to world peace.
Sargeras finally has a portal big enough to pass through, so he heads to Azeroth to destroy it.
Holy shit. That's kind of epic to finally meet Sargeras, right?
Stops him and puts him in Bad Titan jail, but not before Sargeras impales his sword into Azeroth in a last-ditch effort to kill the World Soul. The Legion is defeated and Illidan stays behind to bully Sargeras. Back on Azeroth, the Titan World Soul is bleeding
I
to
am my
death because it has
scars.
a big sword stuck in it. The blood is good at making bombs, so everybody wants it. Sylvanas is angry when an elf was mean to her, so she burns down Teldrassil. The Alliance retaliates by storming Lordaeron, so Sylvanas blows it up. Anduin captures High Overlord Sarfang, who feels bad about burning down a tree full of defenseless civilians. The champions of Azeroth get a fantasy phone call from Magni. Azeroth is going to die unless they cram a lot of her blood into a magic necklace, so they start doing that.
Right.
The Alliance and Horde go to Kultiris and Zandalar because they need boats. Sarfang still feels bad about committing genocide, so Anduin lets him go. Sarfang rallies the rest of the Horde behind him because they also feel bad about committing genocide. Sarfang and his no-genocide Horde team up with the Alliance and go to Orgrimmar to stop Sylvanas and her pro-genocide Horde. Sarfang decides at the last minute to challenge Sylvanas to an honorable orc duel instead, and Sylvanas agrees. Sarfang is about to win, so Sylvanas just insta-kills him and tells the Horde she never liked him anyway and flies off. Everyone...
That has some Game of Thrones Season 8 energy. That's as logical as when the dragons got fired at and instantly got skewered by the Iron Fleet in Game of Thrones. The moment they took to the sky, instant perfect accuracy ballista straight up when it killed the dragon. Before the second flyover, the dragon had 100% evasion and she was able to torch the entire fleet. An honorable duel.
Sarfang is about to win, so Sylvanas just insta-kills him and tells the Horde she never liked.
And then Daenerys was gonna... Actually, that has nothing to do with the dragon. It's not really the same, but it is both illogical. By the way, her face looks funny here. I think, like this, she's not that hot, actually, from this angle. But anyway, it is... Big story writing. No. To suddenly just yeah, she's not just supposed to use magic, right?
Flies off. Everyone feels bad,
but it feels like they cheat every time they're in the Mak'gora because Thrall also suddenly used lightning when he lost to Garrosh.
Pro-genocide Horde's mom just left, so they forgive them for all the genocide immediately and before 4 ends. Things are starting to wind down when the champions...
You can use magic. It's part of it.
Champions of Azeroth accidentally set N'Zoth free because a knife tells them to. Then they kill him with a magic necklace and nothing of consequence changes. Champions of Azeroth accidentally set N'Zoth free because a knife tells them to. Then they kill him.
A knife tells them to set N'Zoth free. Then they kill him with the magic necklace and nothing of consequence changes. Is that magic necklace the one that has the blood of Azeroth in it? How do you use a blood-infused amulet to kill a kraken? An evil kraken? It shoots a beam. How do you activate it? Is there a button? You just hold it and then aim it. And then it shoots. You right-click it in your inventory.
With a magic necklace and nothing of consequence changes. Sylvanas flies to Icecrown Citadel, beats up Witch King Bolvar and steals his hat. Then she breaks it, which makes the sky explode and also probably kills Ner'zhul. Now the afterlife is connected to regular life, which is bad, so everyone is about to kill themselves in order to beat up the Grim Reaper. And that's the history of WoW. Beat up the Grim Reaper. And the afterlife is connected to regular life, which is bad, so
that's Shadowlands? It's all connected? Like when Soul Society and Hueca fusion happened and shit? So, if you're dead, can you just come back to life too then? Huh. Shadowlands does not exist. If any of this stuff exists, Shadowlands exists too. Alright? Either you reject all of it and you go back to Warcraft 3 only. Or you have to take all of it. You cannot pick and choose your DLC. This is all real. This is true. It's the real story.
Everyone is about to kill themselves in order to beat up the Grim Reaper. And that's the history of WoW.
Wow. He spent 4 hours typing all the closed captions. Oh, good job. Good video. Good video. Now, all of that is going to be on the test, which I will ask you about tomorrow.